You're looking for a TV that just works, something that fits into family movie night, your weekend sports binge, and the occasional gaming session without forcing you to become a tech wizard. The fear most of us share is buying a massive screen that ends up looking flat in a bright living room, or a smart interface that feels more like a puzzle than a convenience. You want reliability, an easy-to-live-with experience, and real value for the price you're spending, not just a list of glossy specs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging into the 85-inch Sony X85K, the first thing I noticed was how the marketing talks a lot about X1 4K HDR processor and native 120Hz. Those sound impressive, but what matters is how they translate when you actually press play. I read a handful of forum threads and watched a few YouTubers set the thing up in rooms ranging from dark home theaters to sunlit family rooms. The consensus was clear: the picture is consistently bright enough for daytime viewing, and the motion handling is smooth enough that fast-moving sports don't turn into a blur of colors. If you're the type who watches a lot of live sports, the motion handling on this model is a real advantage. The intelligent motion handling feature reduces smear during fast pans, so a soccer match feels fluid rather than choppy. One user who set the TV up in a room with a large window mentioned that the combination of the X1 processor and the high refresh rate kept the ball tracking crisp even when the sun was shining directly on the screen. For a family that gathers around for the big game every weekend, that kind of consistency can be the difference between a night of cheering and a night of squinting. Now, let's talk about color. Sony claims the X85K reproduces over 1 billion colors, and in practice that means you'll see more nuance in a sunset or in the subtle gradients of a high-budget sci-fi film. I tested a few streaming titles that are known for vibrant palettes, think Stranger Things and the latest Pixar releases. The TV delivered deep, saturated hues without pushing them into an artificial neon. The result is a more immersive viewing experience that feels true to the creator's intent, which is exactly what you want when you're paying for a screen that large. The smart side of this TV is built on Google TV, and that's where the premium label earns its keep. Unlike some proprietary platforms that lock you into a handful of apps, Google TV pulls in content from just about every major streaming service and organizes it based on your habits. If you ask Google Assistant to play the latest episode of The Crown, it will search across Netflix, Disney+, and even free ad-supported services to find the best match. The voice remote is responsive enough that you don't have to type out titles, which is a real time saver when you're juggling popcorn and kids. Gaming is another use case that often trips people up. The X85K includes a dedicated game menu that consolidates picture settings, input lag adjustments, and HDR toggles into one place. While it's not a console-grade 0 milliseconds response, the native 120Hz refresh rate coupled with the motion processing gives a noticeable reduction in ghosting compared to many other LED sets in this price range. If you're a casual gamer who plays on a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, you'll find the experience solid, especially in fast shooters where frame consistency matters. Hardcore competitive gamers might still look for a TV with a specialized game mode that can push the input lag lower, but for most households, the balance here is more than adequate. So, who should actually buy this 85-inch Sony? If you have a sizable viewing area, say a living room where you can sit at least 8 feet back, and you value a bright, color-accurate picture that handles motion well, this TV checks the boxes. It's also a good match for families that rely on multiple streaming apps and want a single remote that can answer voice commands without needing a separate smart speaker. If you're into occasional gaming and appreciate a menu that doesn't require digging through hidden settings, you'll feel right at home. On the other hand, there are scenarios where you might want to skip it. If your primary viewing environment is a dark, dedicated home theater, you might benefit more from an OLED that offers deeper blacks than any LED can achieve, even with local dimming. Likewise, if you need the absolute lowest input lag for high-level competitive esports, a TV that advertises sub-10 ms lag would be a better fit. Finally, if the budget is a major constraint, the sheer size and brand premium of this Sony model could push you into a price tier where you might get a similarly bright LED from a different maker at a lower cost. Installation can be a bit of a chore simply because of the size. The 85-inch panel is heavy, so a wall mount rated for at least 150 kilograms is a must, and you'll need a sturdy stud wall.